Okay, so today, I know I've been lagging. I haven't been posting up pictures that I've been promising everybody. Okay, so today I've finally got back on it after an actual week's of vacation. Bassmaster Classic in town. I'm a big fisherman if you don't already know. Let's try to put the engine back in the car. Well, I figured I was going to put the engine back in the engine bay, but now's a good time to kind of explain a lot of different things I've done to the engine setup. That way everybody can, I don't know, maybe pick up on a couple things and maybe swap this for yourself. Engine harness that I've come up with basically uses the original AP1 harness, right? You just have to tear it all completely apart and you have to extend the wires. Most of the wires you have to extend at least 3 or 4 feet from what I was doing. Okay, so originally the engine harness would join somewhere around this area on the original S2000. On this setup, you have to take that harness apart, you know, line by line, whatnot, what have you, and run everything back this way if you want to keep it with the traditional Integra layout, which is what I'm doing. Alright, so here's some of the craziness going on. So it comes back up this way and it splits into two. It actually comes up into this, which I still have to somehow manage once it's in the car. And here's your VTEC solenoid. Let's see, VTEC solenoid, water, oil, all these other lines that are conventional to your VTEC area. Then it goes up here to the spark plugs, and there you go. So those lines come right up to the spark plugs, and it goes all the way over here and it splits into the cam sensors. Okay, so that's half the harness. The other half of the harness follows this tube, and it's not going to be like that, alright? It's going to be mounted to the frame, more like this, so you get some clearance. Comes right back down here, goes right back up underneath the intake manifold. Once it gets to the intake manifold, it just spiderwebs all over the place. You have, this is the alternator power or charge, and you have all these other wires that go up to the injectors, idle air control, and obviously one of them loops back that way. Sorry, I kicked the camera. Comes out right here and goes right up to the throttle position and map sensor. This is a, no, it's kind of dirty. Clean that off. Omni Power 4-bar. Got it from one of my friends for a good price. And as you can see, these are the injectors. These are the Injector Dynamics 1000cc injectors. Hoping they still work, since they haven't been used ever since they were purchased. They were purchased brand new. Like I said, sorry for the ugliness going on, but we got a fuel rail from Inline Pro. I believe this fuel rail can handle anything your S2000 can throw at it. And also we have just your basic AEM. Oh, like I said, sorry for the nasty mess. AEM fuel pressure regulator and the Aeromotive fuel pressure gauge. And to top things off, you got a Mugen cap. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, starter I bought from New York for $35 off of eBay. Hope it works. I did test it and it did work, so should be okay. And now, yeah, some of you might be staring at, what the heck is this big plate right here? This plate is the F2K adapter plate. Alright, this is what Inline Pro has done, and what they've done is actually somewhat genius, somewhat just, why hasn't this been done before? I know adapter plates are pretty popular in a lot of other areas of motorsports. Talking to the domestic guys, you can tell they could be looking at you and be like, man, you guys are retarded. Should have done this a long time ago, because we do it all the time in our industry. Alright, so basically it looks like it's a 1/4 inch thick aluminum right here, 1/4 inch thick aluminum. And you got bolts that go from the engine block through the plate to the transmission. And you've also got other bolts that only bolt one side. Like for example, this side of the starter, it goes from this to just that, and that's it. And you also got other bolts that hold the starters in. And you got bolts that come from the transmission side that bolt just to the plate. Now, I know this engine has 2 bolt holes that are right there too, but this actually doesn't line up to them. When I first got them, I had a test fit, and I thought it was broken until I tried to throw the transmission on there, and it actually made some sense. So, really, all you got is 1, maybe 2, 3, 4. Let's see on this side. 5. Yep, just 5 bolts holding the transmission on. So yeah, 5 bolts holding the transmission. Okay, let's come back this way. The clutch I chose for the project. Let's clean this off a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Much cleaner. Simple cleanup. Okay, the clutch we chose for the project here, I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I told the guys up at Inline Pro that I plan to push about 450 to the wheels. So be sure to give me something. And then they told me either you have a choice between ceramic or carbon fiber or some sorts. And I told them I wanted the ceramic. And since it's a street application, I still want the springs in the clutch pack. So that's what they gave me. Clutch from Competition Clutch. It's just a single disc. It's nothing exotic. And this is the part that is pretty cool, at least for me, is you have since you have this offset on the adapter plate, you got to have an offset flywheel as well. And that's what they've done. What it is usually traditional flywheels, you'll have the teeth, the starter teeth or starter gear right on the edge of the flywheel, but this one you have to have it offset. So the pressure plates, clutches, and everything, they have to mount to the surface of the flywheel, and then you have this that comes back. So you got almost like a plate effect, where they bolt and where the lip comes up and it bends back this way. Just for those guys that actually want to know what's going on. The engine itself is built by myself. This is my first build of any engine, and I'll flash in some pictures of what I've done, and there's also I'll throw in a link onto the forum where I'm from, and you guys can check it out there. Basically, a quick rundown is we have brand new bearings. Everything is brand new. All the bearings are brand new. The mains and rods are from ACL Race Bearings. Connecting rods are Brian Crowers. All the bolts are ARPs. Pistons are from CP Pistons, usually off the shelf, standard size for the S2000. It has been sleeved. It's a, let's see, I think it's Aries sleeving with a closed deck sleeve. In the top, we have titanium retainers, springs, and seats. Kept the OEM valves and OEM cams, but I've replaced all the seals, all the cam seals, gasket seals. All the gaskets are brand new. I know you don't see it here, and I still have to replace some of these that were just in the brand new package. I'm not going to put those on until the time we decide to start up the engine. So that's the engine in a nutshell. Okay, there's a lot more stuff than that, which I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention. Yeah, just basically new water pump, new oil pump, everything. And if you're doing this kit, I know the S2000 comes with AC, okay, which is mounted right here. And this, for a while, I had a little issue with that. AC is mounted down here, so usually this comes right, like this belt would come back, wrap around the AC, and then come back to the alternator. Well, when you run this kit, you cannot run AC. Okay, the AC, let's see, the AC would go right here on these 4 bolts. AC would go right here on these 4 bolts. And these 4 bolts are actually used to go onto a piece, an adapter plate or mount, engine mount, you can say, that actually mounts to the engine. So So there it is. Like I said, that area right there, engine mount material. So what I had to do was buy a Honda CR S2000 belt, and it fits perfectly. For a while I thought I had to go and buy a custom belt and things like that, and then I realized that yeah, the CR model actually came without a belt, so it's perfect. Buy a Honda CR belt and boom, works awesome. Let's see what else I got. Spark plugs are the dental iridiums. I think heat level 9, I believe. Something busy. I was reading up on Busy-Moto recommendations, and that's what he recommended for this power level. It's gonna be turboed, of course. I still need a gasket for throttle plate here. I don't have a gasket in here yet. Well, yeah, I do. I got a gasket in there. Okay. So it's got a gasket in there. The gasket throttle intake system right here, that's still all OEM. There's no modifications on that. Although I would like to bore this out to something a little bit bigger. I haven't done that yet. Let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. If I forget anything, I guess I'll put in another video. So that's the engine. Okay, that's the engine without the turbo manifold, anything like that yet. Onto the transmission. This is the transmission, and of course these two big black pieces here are part of the swap engine components, or the swap engine mounts. That's part of the engine mount. This transmission actually needs to be turned the other way in order to be fit onto this engine. But here's the engine transmission setup, and it is an RSX. This is the old DC5 setup, and just from this will be like a front view of it, what it looks like. Okay, and I also got brand new bearings all in this thing. I bought it used off of Craigslist. The guy wanted pretty cheap for it because he thinks there's something wrong with it. But I bought it from the guy, and it didn't seem like there was anything wrong when I took it all apart. Basically, I gave it a new LSD from M Factory, the mechanical LSD. I replaced, yeah, all the bearings and relubed everything up, so everything should be fine before I give it a go. See how it runs. Okay, so basically the weakest thing here is going to be your second gear in the transmission. Everything has been beefed up. Everything has been beefed up. And I just wanted to show some of the things that are not, or some of the things that do not come to mind when thinking about F2K swap. Okay, and this is one of them, one of many actually. The adapter plate here, as you can see, has a bolt that goes from this side down to this side, which is fine. But this tranny side has a hole on it, so it goes through the adapter plate, which you can kind of see the bolt in there, but it comes to this side and it does not line up with that hole. Okay, so when I first got it, there were no instructions. I guess I must have been one of their first customers or something. No instructions came along with it, and I had to email the guy. I forgot what his name was. Could have been Alan, could have been something else, and they finally shoot me back some instruction manuals. Not really instruction manuals, but like more like a Word document, which is, it's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. And came to realize that this bolt right here has to go through a hole that's not there. So you have to actually drill it out. Okay, so I had to drill that out, which is no biggie. You basically use the template. You use the adapter plate as a template, and you just drill right through. It's aluminum, and it's not very you say hard to drill through. Okay, number 2 on the kit is, once again, this hole down here for this bolt on the this is on the exhaust side of the engine. That bolt does not line up perfectly as well, so you have to get like a milling bit and mill it over. Okay, so the hole's too far that way. You actually have to mill it over to the right. So I had to do that as well to get the hole to line up to the other hole in the transmission. But once that's done, it's fine. Another thing was, it's a little dark, so I had to illuminate with my flashlight. The other thing was this the side mount here has a flat base but the transmission does not have a flat surface. See what I'm talking about? Like this piece right here. I'm trying to coordinate this. Right here and right here. Okay, so this black piece is the actual mount that comes along for the ride, and they don't tell you that you have to put it in a spacer. So that's what I had to do. Find just a really thin washer, put that in, and now you're ready to go. And actually, the reason why I don't have this bolt in here is because this hole does not line up perfectly. It needs to be. Oh, there you go. See, there you go. This hole needs to be cut a little bit more down here. That needs to be trimmed a little bit. So I have to trim that mount a little bit to get it to go in perfect. Because I think I screwed up one of the bolts as I was screwing it in already. So I have to go buy another bolt. Kind of my fault, but kind of not. Okay, and here's the biggest upset of the swap here. Okay, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I can speak my mind. Okay, but here you go. Get my viewfinder out of the way. This guy right here. These bolts only bolt from the tranny side to the plate here. Okay, so I hand tightening only. Okay, because I managed to strip the aluminum out of the adapter plate here. Okay, so that's no bueno. I'm gonna have to somehow figure that out. Probably get some helicoil going or up it to a bigger bolt, which I'm looking at upping, but at the same time you really can't without drilling that hole out. So probably have to helicoil that, and then probably have to helicoil both, because it just doesn't seem like it's gonna hold. This is not a really aggressive thread pitch for aluminum, especially for this size of a bolt, and you're only going in 1/4 inch, a little over 1/4, definitely not a half. So basically all I really did was plug it in, transmissions in straight. I bolted the sides first, and then I finally come up to the top and I bolted them, and I got it snug. And just like on every other Honda transmission, crank it a little bit more, and all I did was crank it a little bit more, and bam, this thing went soft. So I pulled it out with my fingers, and that's what I got. It's just not the best thing in the world. Okay, so that's just what I got right there. Not cool. Have to fix that. Other things with the F2K kit, everything else looks really good. Like it comes with the axles and everything, which I'll discuss when the time comes. Everything else looks good. Okay, the other major thing that I think a lot of people are going to get discouraged is right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, so right there, right where I've drawn the little blue lines right here. I forgot to cut it out before putting the transmission back on, so I'll probably take the transmission back off, cut it. Because you have your axle that's going to come across the engine bay, right, the engine block right here, the bottom half of the engine block. And this is where it's going to bolt up to, okay? So, yeah, I'm also using these as anchoring points for the engine lift. But if you look at it, you have to cut that much off, which is not a big problem. I don't think it'll hurt the structural integrity of the block at all, because that's just used for like mounting purposes. It's not part of the actual, like, I don't think you'll see any pressure or anything like that. But that's something you don't really see either. You want to get a side view of how it looks like. It goes like this. Okay, so it definitely does interfere with the axle, so you do have to cut that out for sure. Alright. Okay, so here is the finished product. I have the half shaft going into the transmission, and this part over here, this part right here, you have to cut in order to fit the half shaft through. So that's for clearance purposes. You do have to cut that out, and let's see, yeah, there's a better angle. I'll cut all that out, otherwise it would be touching and it won't work properly. So there's the underside of the whole thing. Cut that out and it'll work. It's all mounted up right now. And this is the half shaft adapter or mounting plate from Inline Pro, and it says right there F2K. There you go, F2K HS. I don't know what HS stands for, but that's the current setup right now. Engine and transmission. See you guys.